problems in children with regard to mental health is if you lack life skills such as communication, taking care of yourself, domestic kind of skills, social skills, making friends, you're going to get into a lot of problems, because if you lack skills, you won't really know what to do when you face difficulties. And while most children are able to learn these skills as they grow, some children don't. And when skills are lacking, you find that there are emotional problems, there are behavior problems, and maybe even cognitive problems. If you don't do anything about these problems, they're going to lead to a lot of anxiety in children. And with lots of anxiety, you can also get depression. So these are some of the main factors that contribute to children having mental health problems. Well, resilience basically means being able to pick yourself up when you fall. And one of the things that contribute to resilience is self-efficacy, meaning you know that you're able to do something. So if you know that you can solve a certain problem, regardless of how you feel, you may feel that you're unhappy about a problem, you still know what to do about it. So if you're able to teach children from young to solve problems that they face on a day-to-day basis, it makes them more resilient. Because firstly, they know how to regulate their emotions. They know that they don't like something, but while not liking something, they also know what to do about it. And therefore, if they have self-efficacy, meaning they know that they know how to solve a problem, it's highly likely that they're going to ask for help to solve the problem if they don't know how to do it themselves. And when you are able to ask for help, when you actually have the confidence to do something about challenges that you face in life, you are much more resilient than not knowing what to do, where you just sit there and cry. Therefore, having resilience would definitely help you manage your mental health better. Well, the skill sets that you want to instill in children from young are basically the skill sets that you want to see them demonstrating, showing you in a way that helps you be confident that your children are as independent as they can be at their age. Because at the end of the day, as parents, you want to be confident that your children, when they grow up, can be left alone and they won't get into trouble. So think about the kind of skills you want them to show you before you can feel confident that they can be left alone. All right? For example, knowing how to take care of themselves at home. They know their way around the house, domestic skills. They can even clean up the house if they mess up. Think about the kind of skills you want them to have when they leave the house. Stranger danger, knowing the house address, at least they know how to find their way back, how to get places, reading the map, asking for help, calling for emergency, knowing who to approach for help, how to buy things, how to use money basically, otherwise you don't know how to buy things. So these are the kind of skills basically would tell you that your children can be independent. So in terms of what skill sets, whatever skill set that can help your child be as independent as possible, as quickly as possible. Well, when it comes to sense of self, I would prefer to use self-efficacy. Because with self-efficacy, at least you know that you're able to do something. Compared with self-esteem, which is also good, it just gives you the sense of self that is good enough. But there's not necessarily any kind of evidence that you are good enough. Compared to self-efficacy, where you are able to actually demonstrate a certain skill set that helps you feel confident that you're able to deal with the situation. And if you're not able to deal with the situation, you have the self-efficacy to know how to ask for help. So in promoting more self-efficacy in all kinds of skill sets in your children, it helps them to build resilience and to have a better well-being. Because even if they face challenges, they face problems, and the well-being is challenged, they more or less know what to do. So it's very important to instill self-efficacy in children for them to develop further as they grow up. Well, one way to ensure that they don't get negative effects of friendship, peer mixing that would affect their sense of belonging is to make sure we teach children how to make friends. That's to choose friends properly, carefully, and how to actually make friends, how to keep friends, meaning how to have meaningful relationships with your peers. And of course, every now and then you're going to get conflicts, to also know how to manage those conflicts and to decide whether or not you still want to be friends with people who may not be so good for you. How would you want to identify that? What can you do? And of course, practice. So to keep on supporting children in making friends would help them get that sense of belonging among their peers, which is a very important thing, especially when they grow up to be teenagers. So again, skill sets. Skills in friendship. Skills also in play, because you need to know how to play by yourself, play with each other, taking turns. These are very, very important skills when it comes to socializing. And it's also important to teach children about what bullying is, because they are bound to get bullied. They are also likely to become bullies, because it's part of how we are as human beings. Sometimes when there's an opportunity to bully, whether we like it or not, we become bullies. So children need to understand what bullying is about, especially this day and age when there's online bullying. So for them to understand what to do when they get bullied. And of course, they need to firstly identify that it is bullying, what you can do about it, which is to avoid the bully. Make it known, tell someone, tell an adult, and to address the issue of bullying, which is actually maybe a whole new series of interviews. Well, balance for shame and guilt, of course, is a very, very difficult thing. We are human beings. Sometimes we overscold or underscold. We don't punish bad behaviors at the right timing. Then it becomes difficult. But what's important to understand is that if we want to improve resilience, we want to put in place self-efficacy in knowing that they're able to do something. And every now and then they will make mistakes. That's fine. We're human beings, we will make mistakes. You may want to punish the behavior. Notice I say behavior, not a person. So tell them that it's not the thing to do. They may feel ashamed of themselves for doing it. But what's really important is you let them know that you're able to forgive them and that they can change. When they change and move from there, that's fine. End of story. They don't have to stay guilty. They don't have to stay feeling ashamed. So as adults, as parents, we need to be able to show acceptance to whoever we are parenting, to say that, okay, that's bad, that's not good, we would like you to do this. So correct their behavior and move on. And we need to also know how to teach them about forgiveness. Apologizing, asking for forgiveness is a very important skill for children to learn, so that when they ask for forgiveness, you have that opportunity to forgive them, and then you end that guilt, you end that shame right there, so that they are able to move on. Because we know from all kinds of research that if you keep shame, you keep guilt, it's going to come out later on in life in the form of depression. And that's something we see quite a lot of in adults, that they keep this lifetime of guilt and shame since childhood that they're not even aware of. So we try to minimize this as much as possible, because they would undo all the work that you have done to strengthen their self-efficacy, to strengthen their resilience. So we try to reduce this, we try to increase self-efficacy. Asking for forgiveness is part of self-efficacy. Knowing how to let go of guilt and shame, self-efficacy. It all leads to better resilience. Well, social anxiety basically is just having anxiety in a social setting, usually with strangers, or when you are put in the center of attention and you need to perform in a certain way. So either to give a public talk, or to do a dance or singing performance in front of others, or something as simple as just making friends, feeling shy, having nervousness and worries about being judged by other people. Is it increasing? Well, from my personal experience, it seems to be a lot more children who have difficulties making friends, are very shy, but whether it's actually increasing statistically, I don't know. That would be good for you to check with local researchers in universities. What can we do about it will be to go back to, again, that self-efficacy, skills for making friends. you are able to make friends easily, automatically there will be a much less social anxiety, because you have this self-efficacy. You know that you are able to make friends. You are able to just say hi to a total stranger, boy or girl, and say, my name is Alvin Ng. I would like to be your friend. What's your name? Or you don't know whether to say, well, I would like to be your friend. That may be a bit uncool, right? So what's your name? I like your T-shirt. Where you get it from? Something like that. Just to connect. And these are the skills that you can teach children. You can practice with them. Even like phone call skills. How do you speak on the phone? That one is less social because you don't see any face. You can start there. You can have role plays with children about how we can make friends, how we can start small talk. These are skills that sometimes we take for granted. Children know what to do. So if you find that children of yours have got some kind of anxiety in a social setting, you can provide them with better sense of self-efficacy, that they are able to make friends. Try it today. Well, one final tip that I feel is very, very important. It's something that we all, myself included, take for granted. And that is this whole concept of good enough. We want our children to be the best. Why not, isn't it? But oftentimes, they're hardly ever the best. Neither are we. What we want to be looking for, again, is good enough. Just like getting any kind of job done. If you can get the job done, the job's done. You're good enough for the job, and that's fine. That's good enough. So we need to focus on helping children see and feel that they're good enough. And of course, there are times where, or all the time actually, that you are always trying to improve. But unless you're able to feel that you're good enough, you're constantly going to feel that you're not good enough. That's where the problems start. That's where you start having shame, having guilt, and that's not something you want. So please focus on anything that's good enough, and to make it known to your children that that's good enough. Because anyone who knows enough is enough will always have enough, and that's how you get contented. Easier said than done, but something to think about. Right, ladies and gentlemen, if you find that all these facts are important and very useful to you, please feel free to share this video and like below. Got like?
Got.
Okay. Like.